This is Campus Currency, and welcome back to the final video in our series on completing the FAFSA application. In this video, we're going to show you the steps in the process of signing and submitting your FAFSA. As you can see, the menu has moved over to the Sign and Submit section. The first question they'll ask is, are you a preparer? Which in most cases you're going to answer no. If you did pay somebody to help you fill out this FAFSA, that's when you would answer yes. So you're almost done. At this point, they're going to go through the FAFSA summary. So they're going to go through all the information you already entered into the FAFSA application, just so you can double check to make sure everything is accurate. And that includes the colleges that you're interested in having the application sent to. It's also going to give you the option, if you haven't entered 10 colleges, to one more time maybe add an additional college if you forgot one, or you have changed your mind at this point and want to add an additional college. And you're almost there, and we're ready to sign and submit. And so you'll get to this page where it's going to show that we need the student signature, and it'll show that it's not currently signed, and you'll be able to click on the link to provide your student signature. And then one of your parents, the parent that has an FSA ID, if they signed up for one, will also have to sign FAFSA application as well. Then you're going to read through the certification process and agree to the terms and conditions. And then it will take you to the signature page where you can click on the Sign This FAFSA. Once you do that, you will enter your FSA ID. And then once you do, it'll take you back to this page where it says the student has signed with their FSA ID. And you'll see the signature status is signed electronically, and you'll also see the green check mark indicating that you have signed with your FSA ID. And then it's time for the parent with the FSA ID to also go in, because you can see it says unsigned, that they're going to have to provide their signature as well. So they're going to bring up both parents, and the parent that has the FSA ID, or one of the parents with an FSA ID. Remember, only one parent was required to sign up with an FSA ID. You just want to make sure you're using the correct parent that has the FSA ID, because it is tied to their social security name and date of birth. And then that parent can sign using their FSA ID. They will also have to agree to the terms and conditions set forth by the FAFSA and agree to those. And then for the parent signature, it will go through and ask for their FSA ID and password, and then it will sign it. Now, if your parent did not sign up for an FSA ID, you do have other options to sign and submit the FAFSA. So obviously the FSA ID is the quickest and most convenient way to submit your FAFSA application. So most likely that's the best option, and that's what you want to do, is have your parents sign up for that FSA ID. You do have the option to print a signature page, which your parent would then have to sign and submit to the Department of Education Processing Center. The last option would be to submit the FAFSA without signatures. However, if you do this, you will have to log back in at a later date and either print a signature page or sign with the FSA ID. Because if you submit this FAFSA without a parent signature, it will not calculate the eligibility. It will not determine an expected family contribution, which is the number used by college financial aid offices to determine your eligibility for financial aid. If your parent signs with the FSA ID, it'll take you back to this page where you can see that they've also signed electronically, and you'll see the green check mark. And now you're ready to submit your FAFSA. And it will move over to the confirmation menu. And then you'll get to the confirmation page where it will say, congratulations, your FAFSA has been successfully submitted. You'll have a confirmation number here, which you'll want to keep handy, because in case anything should happen with the application during the processing time, you may need to call the Department of Education, which you can reach them at 1-800-4FED-AID, which is 1-800-433-3243. It's also going to provide you with what's called a data release number, or DRN. This is used sometimes in cases where maybe your school doesn't receive the FAFSA from the Department of Education's processing center, and so they'll request this DRN number in order to go in onto a federal website and request that your FAFSA gets sent to the school. So you'll definitely want to print this page with that information. And then most importantly, it's going to show you what your expected family contribution is. This is the number that will determine your eligibility for various grants, scholarships, loans, and work-study programs at the college. It's not a good use of terminology because the expected family contribution is not necessarily what you are expected to pay for college. It's more of an index, and the Department of Education will be changing this terminology within the next 2 years. They will be moving it to what's called a student aid index. But essentially this EFC, or expected family contribution, is a number that is used to determine eligibility for the various grant, scholarship, loan, and work study programs. And that's it for this video. In our next video, we're going to talk about the cost of attendance and the expected family contribution in more detail. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.